There is something profound happening in the spiritual realm right now, something that reaches deep into the very fabric of your person's existence. They are experiencing what can only be described as a monumental shift in consciousness, a spiritual awakening that is unraveling years of karmic entanglement and setting them free from chains they didn't even realize were binding them. For what feels like an eternity, your person has been caught in a web of confusion and manipulation, trapped within the confines of karmic contracts that have kept them spiritually imprisoned. These invisible threads have wound themselves around their heart, their mind, and their very soul, creating a labyrinth of illusion that has prevented them from seeing clearly. The karmic force that held them captive was not just a simple obstacle, it was a complex system of energetic bondage that influenced every decision they made, every emotion they felt, and every step they took along their spiritual journey. This karmic influence manifested in various forms throughout their life. Perhaps it was another person who wielded an unhealthy power over their thoughts and actions, someone who knew exactly which emotional buttons to press to keep them confused and dependent. Or maybe it was a toxic pattern of behavior that they found themselves repeating endlessly, like a broken record that couldn't find its way to a new song. It could have been an addiction to drama, to chaos, to relationships that drained rather than nourished, or to situations that promised fulfillment but delivered only emptiness. Whatever form this karmic entanglement took, it served one primary purpose: to keep your person away from their authentic truth and, more importantly, away from recognizing the profound significance of your connection. It was as if a thick veil had been drawn across their spiritual vision, preventing them from seeing you for who you truly are in their life story. The depth of your bond, the sacred nature of your relationship, the way your souls recognize each other across time and space, all of this was obscured by the karmic fog that surrounded them. But transformation is never a gentle process, and spiritual awakening often comes like a thunderbolt that shatters the illusions we've been living under. Your person is now in the midst of this powerful metamorphosis, and they can no longer ignore the truth that is breaking through their consciousness like dawn after the longest night. The mental and emotional games that once held them prisoner are losing their grip with each passing day. The manipulation tactics that used to confuse and disorient them no longer have the same power. The toxic patterns that once felt inescapable are beginning to reveal themselves for what they truly are, prison walls that they always had the key to unlock. As these layers of illusion peel away like old skin being shed, your person is stepping into a space of higher awareness that is both liberating and overwhelming. This awakening is not a subtle shift that happens quietly in the background. It is an earthquake of consciousness that is shaking every foundation they thought they understood about themselves, about love, about life, and most importantly, about you. The realization of your importance in their life is hitting them with the force of a spiritual tsunami. They are beginning to understand, perhaps for the first time, that you are not just another person who passed through their story. You are not a chapter that can be closed and forgotten, not a lesson learned and left behind. You are something far more significant. You are a mirror for their soul, a catalyst for their growth, a piece of their spiritual puzzle that they never should have allowed to go missing. This recognition is creating an emotional upheaval within them that they are struggling to process. The distance that exists between you now, which once felt manageable or even necessary, has become a source of deep discomfort that they can no longer rationalize away. Where there used to be emotional numbness or detachment, there is now a raw, aching awareness of what is missing from their life. The silence between you, which they might have once welcomed as peace, now feels like a deafening void that echoes with everything left unsaid. They miss you, but this missing goes far deeper than ordinary longing. This is a soul-level yearning that reaches into the very core of their being. They are missing your energy, that unique vibration that you bring into any space you occupy. They are missing your presence, the way the world feels different, more alive, more meaningful when you are part of it. They are missing your understanding, that rare and precious gift of being truly seen and accepted for who they are beneath all the masks and pretenses. This profound recognition is creating a sense of urgency within them that they have never experienced before. They are beginning to understand that the silence between you is not sustainable, that the distance is not something they can continue to live with, and that the disconnection is actively damaging something sacred within their soul. They know, with a clarity that cuts through all their old confusion, that they must act. They must reach out. They must bridge the gap that has grown between you, no matter how terrifying that prospect might be. The weight of their past choices is settling on their shoulders like a heavy cloak that they can no longer ignore. They are seeing, with painful clarity, the moments when they chose poorly, when they prioritized the wrong things, when they allowed other influences to cloud their judgment. There were times when you were placed second, or worse, pushed aside entirely, for situations, people, or circumstances that they now recognize as completely insignificant compared to what you represent in their life. Looking back, they can see the pattern of their mistakes with startling clarity. They were juggling not just people, but priorities that made no sense, responsibilities that weren't truly theirs to bear, and listening to inner voices that were leading them away from their truth rather than toward it. In those moments, they couldn't see the weight of their actions or the pain they were causing. They were operating from a place of confusion, fear, and karmic blindness that prevented them from making decisions aligned with their highest good. But time, that great teacher and revealer of truth, has opened their eyes to the reality of what they did. They understand now that every choice that led them away from you was a choice that led them away from themselves. Every moment they spent investing in situations that were ultimately hollow was a moment stolen from building something real and lasting with you. Every excuse they made for not showing up fully in your connection was actually an excuse for not showing up fully in their own life. This understanding has created a persistent sense of remorse that follows them through their days like a shadow they cannot shake. It's not the kind of guilt that comes and goes with mood changes or distractions. This is a deep, soul-level regret that has taken up residence in their heart and refuses to be ignored. They find themselves replaying moments from your shared history, seeing with new eyes the times when they let you down, when they said the wrong thing or failed to say the right thing, when their behavior caused you pain that they were too blind or too stubborn to acknowledge. This remorse is haunting them in the truest sense of the word. It visits them in quiet moments when they're alone with their thoughts. It surfaces when they see something that reminds them of you or when they experience something beautiful that they wish they could share with you. It wakes them up at night and walks with them through their days, a constant reminder of the ways they failed to honor the sacred connection you shared. Your silence, though completely understandable and necessary for your own healing and protection, is creating a tension within them that grows stronger with each passing day. They can feel the energetic disconnect between you like a physical ache in their chest. Where there once was a bridge of understanding and connection, there is now a chasm that they helped create but don't know how to cross. This energetic separation is making them anxious in ways they've never experienced before. They find themselves constantly wondering about your state of mind, your emotional well-being, your thoughts about them and about the situation that created this distance. The questions multiply in their mind like echoes in an empty cave. Are you still open to hearing from them? Would you be willing to consider giving them another chance to prove they've changed? Have you already closed the chapter on what you once shared, or is there still a possibility for redemption and renewal? Despite all this fear and uncertainty swirling around in their consciousness, they are gathering the courage to act. They know, with a certainty that cuts through all their doubts, that they cannot remain silent any longer. The time for hiding behind pride, fear, or confusion has passed. They are preparing themselves to speak their truth, to lay bare everything they've been holding inside, to risk vulnerability in a way they've never risked it before. This decision to reach out is not coming from a place of desperation or manipulation. It's coming from a place of genuine transformation and spiritual maturity. They are not the same person who made those hurtful choices in the past. They have been through a process of awakening that has fundamentally changed their understanding of themselves, of love, of what truly matters in life. They want to share this transformation with you, not because they expect it to automatically repair what was damaged, but because they need you to know that they finally see clearly. The spiritual and intuitive connection that once existed between you has also been affected by this period of separation and silence. In the past, there may have been a beautiful telepathic bond that allowed you to sense each other's energy even across physical distance. You could feel when the other was thinking of you, when they were happy or sad, when they needed support or comfort. This invisible thread of connection was a source of comfort and wonder, a reminder that some bonds transcend the physical realm and operate on levels that science cannot fully explain. But right now, this spiritual communication channel feels blocked or severely weakened. Your person can no longer sense your energy in the way they once could, and this loss is creating a profound sense of disorientation within them. It's as if they've lost one of their spiritual senses, leaving them feeling incomplete and disconnected not just from you, but from an important part of themselves. This energetic disconnection is contributing to their growing emotional instability. The comfort they once drew from feeling spiritually connected to you, even during times of physical separation, has been replaced by a void that nothing else seems able to fill. They are feeling lost in a way that goes beyond ordinary loneliness or sadness. They are experiencing a spiritual homesickness for a connection that feels as essential to their well-being as air or water. Underneath all their fear and uncertainty lies a terror of being misunderstood that runs deeper than anything they've ever felt before. They are afraid that if they open their heart and show their vulnerability, you might not recognize the authenticity of their transformation. They fear that you might see their attempts at reconciliation as manipulation or desperation rather than genuine growth and awakening. Vulnerability has never been their strong suit. Like many people, they learned early in life to build emotional walls as protection against hurt and disappointment. They became masters at pretending everything was fine when it wasn't, at projecting strength when they felt weak, at maintaining composure when their inner world was in chaos. These defense mechanisms served them in many situations, but they also prevented them from forming the deep, authentic connections their soul craved. But something about their connection with you has always been different. From the very beginning, you represented a safe space where their walls felt unnecessary and burdensome. With you, they felt the urge to let down their guard, to be real, to show you parts of themselves they kept hidden from everyone else. This urge to be vulnerable with you was both thrilling and terrifying, and for a long time, the terror won out. Now, however, they can no longer deny this pull toward authenticity with you. The urge to be completely open, to explain themselves fully, to be truly seen and understood by you has become overwhelming. It's stronger than their fear of rejection, stronger than their pride, stronger than all the old patterns that used to keep them emotionally imprisoned. They are finally ready to step forward, despite their fear, because they understand that the risk of vulnerability is nothing compared to the certainty of regret if they don't try. What they want more than anything now is a genuine chance to make things right between you. They are not naive about the challenges ahead. They understand that trust, once broken, must be rebuilt slowly and carefully through consistent actions rather than just words. They know that forgiveness cannot be demanded or expected, it must be earned through genuine change and sustained effort. But they are willing to do whatever it takes. They are ready to show you, through their actions and their transformed consciousness, that they have changed at a fundamental level. They want to prove that they have grown, that they have awakened to truths they were blind to before, that they finally understand what you knew all along about the depth and significance of your connection. You are never just another option in their life, another person they could take or leave without consequence. You were their person, their spiritual mirror, their soul connection, their catalyst for growth and awakening. They see this now with a clarity that is both beautiful and heartbreaking, because they understand how much time was lost to confusion and fear. Now they want to return to your life, not as someone seeking to recapture the past, but as someone who has finally awakened to the truth of what you both share. They want to build something new with you, something based on this deeper understanding, something that honors the sacred nature of your soul connection. The silence that has stretched between you has become more than they can bear. Each day that passes without communication feels like a small death, a piece of their soul withering from the lack of connection with yours. They find themselves constantly analyzing every conversation you ever had, searching for clues about where things began to shift, trying to understand the exact moment when they lost you. The questions that plague their mind are relentless and unforgiving. Did they hurt you more deeply than they ever realized? Did their words cut deeper than they intended? Did they push you away without meaning to, through carelessness or blindness rather than malice? These questions echo through their consciousness day and night, creating a soundtrack of regret that they cannot escape. They torment themselves wondering if they became the source of sadness in your life when all they ever wanted was to be your comfort, your peace, your safe haven. The thought that they might have caused you pain when they meant to bring you joy is almost unbearable. It goes against everything they believed about themselves and their feelings for you. The uncertainty is perhaps the most difficult aspect of this entire situation. Without communication, they have nothing concrete to hold on to, no answers to ease their worried mind, no closure to help them understand where they stand. The silence gives them nothing but endless speculation and worry, creating a mental prison where their thoughts chase each other in circles without resolution. They feel as though you have lost faith in them, in the promises they made, in the future they once envisioned together. It seems as though you have quietly decided to step back from the connection, and they didn't even realize it was happening until the distance became impossible to ignore. Your energy feels fundamentally different to them now, not just distant, but detached in a way that suggests something deeper has shifted in your heart. This change doesn't feel like a temporary mood or a passing phase that will resolve itself with time. It feels like a permanent alteration in the fabric of your connection, like your heart is slowly but surely slipping away from theirs. Over the past several months, they have felt this gradual shift happening, but they kept telling themselves that things would improve, that you just needed time and space to process whatever you were going through. Now they are terrified that the distance between you might be permanent, that they waited too long to act, that their window of opportunity to reconnect with you has already closed. This fear follows them everywhere they go, affecting not just their emotional state but every practical aspect of their daily existence. They find themselves constantly distracted, unable to focus on work or other responsibilities because their mind keeps drifting back to you and to the growing chasm between you. The emotional drain of carrying this worry is exhausting them in ways they never anticipated. They feel constantly tired, not from physical exertion but from the mental and emotional energy required to carry this invisible weight around with them everywhere they go. Simple irritations that never used to bother them now feel overwhelming because they don't have their usual emotional reserves to deal with them. They miss you in ways that defy description, ways that go beyond ordinary longing into something that feels like a part of their soul is missing. They miss who you used to be together, the way you could make each other laugh, the way you shared even the smallest moments as if they were treasures. They miss the sense of security that came from knowing you were there, even during times when you weren't in constant communication. What makes this even more difficult is that you feel simultaneously like a stranger and like home. The contradiction is tearing them apart from the inside. On one hand, the distance and silence have made you feel unreachable, like someone they can no longer touch emotionally or spiritually. On the other hand, when they think about you, you still feel like the most familiar, comfortable, essential presence in their life. This time feels different from previous periods of difficulty or misunderstanding between you. It doesn't feel like something that can be resolved with a simple conversation or cleared up with an explanation. It feels like an ending they didn't see coming, like you have already started the process of saying goodbye in your own quiet way, and they are powerless to stop it. The possibility that they have already lost you and simply haven't accepted it yet is the thought that takes their breath away. They cannot bear to consider that this might be the case, but they also cannot escape the growing evidence that seems to point in that direction. No amount of distraction helps them forget this fear, and no amount of positive thinking can numb the ache that has settled permanently in their chest.